It's Nay, and welcome back to Hey Nay. Um, the topic that we're about to do today, I'm very excited to do, so I'm going to jump right in and say what it is. It's working and dating, and I'm going to go right into the first question. What does someone's job tell you about them? Well, I would say that it tells you a lot about them. I think if some, you can tell if someone's very passionate if they're like a doctor or a nurse or some sort of home health aide, or you can tell that they're very involved in the community or something like that. If they work for like a nonprofit or they're doing something meaningful, if they're working for the city or if they're I think it does give you an idea of who the person is. But I don't think that it gives you the whole thing. You know what I mean? You don't know everything about that person just by their job. I think their job is an indication, but I wouldn't rely heavily on that as a full description of who the person is. What job does your dream girl or guy have? Hmm. This is something I feel like everyone should think about. I'm sure everyone does think about it. But for me, my dream girl will have, I guess, a job. Sometimes I like to say like probably in my field, which is sort of like therapy in that sense. So maybe or something in the psychology field, maybe. Um, but then I can also see my dream girl like you know being a teacher or being a lawyer. I don't know. I guess I'm very open. I don't really I don't really think maybe that's not really applicable to me. I think is either I can see my dream girl being various things or I'm having a lot of dream girls. Sorry, I can't. That was funny. That was a good one. All right. Anyway, do you mind if your significant other is a stay-at-home mom or dad? And do not mind that. I think that's something that you have to think about, especially when you're having a family. I know some people are very strong believers in that sense that there should be a stay-at-home parent, and I'm totally for that. If that's the case, it would be something that me and my partner will have to discuss, and I have no problem with it. I just would hope that that wouldn't inhibit someone's dream. So if my wife wants to stay at home and be a stay at home mom, I'm totally okay with that as long as it's something that she wants to do and that she's willing to do and that she doesn't feel any pressure from me or anyone else to do so. And I think that's the importance. So if the person wants to stay at home because they really want to do it, they really want to make sure that their child is receiving the utmost care, then I get that. And I know sometimes people think that, if there's not a stay at home parent, that the child's not receiving the best care. I mean, that's not necessarily true. I mean, I think no one can care for your child the way you do, but I also feel that children turn out okay. You know what I mean? Everyone turns out in different ways no matter what happens. So just because, you know, your child doesn't have a stay at home parent doesn't mean that your child is gonna have a difficult life in that sense. I don't think that is the case. Um, so you don't necessarily have to sacrifice your dream job for your child unless that is something that you absolutely really want to do and you feel is necessary. Dang, that was a good answer. Wow. I just want to pat myself in the back for that. How do you think long or odd work hours affect the relationship? I think they can affect the relationship a lot. Um, if you're young, it's not too bad. I think the younger you are, the more easier and manageable it is. Because usually people who are young tend to be doing a lot of things, various things, seeing other people doing other things. It's not that serious. Things like that. Um, and everyone's trying to find who they are. But I think if you're a little bit older, or if you're a little bit more, I guess you can say, experienced in that sense, that can really have an effect on a relationship. I think this is something that definitely needs to be talked about between um, both people in the relationship because um, if it's something if the job is something that someone really wants to do, then you have to work with it. You have to at least do a test run But you have to discuss it. Because if you're not spending time with each other, why even say that you are with each other? You have to make sure you're making time for your partner because that is important and that is what will make a relationship healthy. So we have to make sure that we're giving time to what is needed. What's the whole point of spending your life doing your job if you can't spend your life doing anything else? You know, we can't let our work life affect our personal life. And I think that is what would happen if this is something that is not agreed upon or there's not some sort of schedule that will help you and your partner stay together more. If your significant other, this is the last question, by the way. If your significant other is asked to move, um, is asked to move, um, oh, okay, I got it. Sorry, I kept reading it wrong. If your significant other is asked to move, um, and it's a serious relationship, what would you do? What if it was to another country? What if they really love their job? What if they made a ton of money? This one is a hard one, and I think that a lot of people do come across it. I know some people who I know who have faced this. It does go into we kind of go into the realm of whether or not long distance relationships are effective or not. But before I get to that, I want to address this bit by bit. Um, if if my partner's if my partner's job requires her to move, I think that is okay. I think that is something that we would have to discuss and see how it works with our lives. Maybe I'll be able to move. Maybe um, my job is flexible in that sense in which I'm be able to do that. Because I would also hope that if it was the other way around, then my partner would do the same for me. But it would definitely be a conversation, especially if the relationship is serious. You would have to see what it is. If the relationship is not serious, I would recommend reassessing the relationship to see maybe whether or not you guys can take a break or not to see what happens. I think that is totally fine to take a break to see what kind of goes on. But if it's serious, a conversation needs to happen and see how it works. You know, you could try it out for a year and see if that works for the two of you. If it does not, the relationship needs to be reassessed. Um, what if it was to another country? If it was another country that's even bigger, that's a lot harder to see each other. You can't see each other just on holidays. You can't see each other just to do anything. It might be even more expensive to see each other. So I think that is something that is huge, especially if it requires them to essentially live there for an indefinite period of time. It's not if it's just like, oh, a year abroad working for this company, then that's different. You know what I mean? That's something that you can work through, I believe. But if it's like a stay there job forever, then you can't have a marriage or anything like that with a partner who lives far away for like 20 plus years. That's not gonna work. I'm telling you that right now. It's not gonna work, to be honest. So I think um, one of you may probably have to make the sacrifice. And sacrifices are important. Sacrifices happen in a relationship. We all compromise no matter what. So that would be something that would have to be discussed. Especially in my case, I would definitely have to discuss that with my partner as to what is best for both of us. And if they really love their job, then I would highly recommend for them to go. I think we should do what is important to us and what's passionate. Um, and I know it's not necessarily choosing like whether or not you're choosing your job over me. I think it's no choosing, you know, you over me or choosing your livelihood over me. I think that is what the question is, and I think that's okay, especially if you're young. I think that is okay to do what you feel passionate about because to I don't want to be with anyone who has regrets, or sort of blames me for choices that they weren't able to make. I don't want that. I'd rather not have you. And I hope that a lot of you who are watching this will feel the same way. So I think if it's a job that you really love, I say go for it. And hopefully we can make it work. But if we can't, then at least you're doing something that you definitely feel passionate about. And if it made a ton of money, we would have to talk the numbers to be honest. If it's a lot of money, then I'm giving up my job and we can live off together. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I don't know. I'm still going through my head um, whether or not I like work or not. I'm not sure if I feel that way. Like I love doing certain things, but I'm not sure if I just don't like working or I don't know what it is. So I'm going through that myself to figure that out. But if it's a ton of money, then I say, let's see. Of course, money is not everything, and we've learned that and we've talked about that. And if you've seen Money in Dating, you know this. But I think it's something to be discussed. It's definitely something to be discussed, and maybe it works out in which you can see each other, frequently because of the fact that there's a lot of money involved. So yeah, definitely a conversation. And this does go to whether or not, you know, long distance is effective or not. And that will definitely be a topic for another time. So I'm going to leave you hanging on that question. But I wanted to thank the Hey Nay writers for sending those questions. And I want to thank you all for tuning in. Remember to subscribe, remember to like, and check out everything. And I appreciate my Hey Naysayers. I love you guys, my naysayers. I love you guys. Thank you so much for constantly um, tuning in. And remember to always start your day off with a hey. Bye.